is that time where we get to look across America and look for some of the good news being put out there by the journalists of Nexstar Media Group. Hey everybody, my name is Chip Brewster. I'm a digital content host with Nexstar, and this is a show all about finding those local, positive, interesting headlines and bringing them to you, our national audience. You may not know Nexstar, the name, but you probably know one of our local stations, more than 100 newsrooms, a lot of journalists making a lot of really good content, finding a lot of really good stories, and we get to feature some of those on the show here today. These specifically for the week leading up to October 24th, 2025. So what are some of the stories that we'll be featuring? Well, the first one that I'm teasing, thousands of cakes. That's all I need to say. A group of moms that has a Halloween tradition, a four-legged therapy animal that is not a dog, a shipping container that can help with fresh produce, unearthing a time capsule, and then the last story on that list is an American company helping those wounded in the war in Ukraine. Really cool stuff, again, hyper local, that we get to bring all together here on Good News Edition. So let's get to the first story, shall we? It is coming from our station in Los Angeles, California, KTLA, and it's about a video gone viral, but the people in the video had no idea that they were being recorded. I'm setting it up in a weird way, but you'll understand here once we actually play the story.
The Uptown Candy Shop here in Riverside had been open for only a few days when this happened. They just celebrated their grand opening. But now the video they posted on TikTok has been seen millions of times, reminding people that there are still good people out there.
Hello?
If it wasn't on video, you might think it was too good to be true.
Yikes. Hold on.
The moment a father and son arrive at the Uptown Candy Store in Riverside, only to find the shopkeeper accidentally left the doors unlocked after leaving for the day.
We need to go find the security guard and tell them that this place is unlocked.
The store quickly posting the heartwarming surveillance video on TikTok, asking people to help find this Good Samaritan and his little boy, who not only called for help, but stood guard at the door until security arrived.
It's just such a kind act. Like, no one needs to do that or needs to take the time out of their night to do that. So it was very kind of him.
Doña Faraj and her father, who owned the store, knew right away they were witnessing something special.
We looked through the video footage and it just warms our heart. We just wanted to share it with the rest of you guys. It was just super wholesome.
The video now has more than 3 million views and counting. It wasn't long before the dad in the clip responded.
An old friend of ours gave me a call when we were on our way home from t-ball practice, and she's like, hey, do you have TikTok? I'm like, no.
Neither of us have one, and so we didn't know.
Thank you guys so much. I seriously cannot thank you guys enough.
We were there as Connor Smith, his wife Shannon, son Charlie, and daughter Nora met with Faraj, who wanted to treat them to a shopping spree to thank them for their kindness.
Because we always, tell the kids, always do the right thing if nobody's watching, and this was a case in which a lot of people are watching, so it feels a little odd, but we're just happy that he was at the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
The family says they're hoping their act of kindness inspires others to do the right thing when the opportunity presents itself. That's the latest from Riverside. Lindsay Pena, KTLA 5 News.
And hopefully it does. I will admit I'm also not a big TikToker. I have the app. I don't scroll it like many others do. So to hear that a video like that, unintentional, just showing integrity, went viral on TikTok and that they were found, and I don't know, does the heart good. Gives me a little bit of faith in humanity, if you will. And honestly, I feel like this particular episode is going to do that for us quite a bit. And that even includes this next story, which is all about something called a cake picnic. And it's coming from our station, KRON, in San Francisco, California. I'd never heard of this before, but I was hooked from the very first shot of video.
There's some amazing cakes here, so super excited to see what all is up for grabs.
On Sunday, San Francisco's Treasure Island turned into a dessert lover's paradise for the Cake Picnic Tour. Pretty self-explanatory, the event made for anyone with a sweet tooth. But there is one rule for entry.
No cake, no entry, so yeah, that's the only way to do it.
Lisa Gordon and her therapy dog Brixton showed up with a lemon poppy seed cake. perfectly on theme for this year's Golden celebration.
Because that's what it's all about. It's sunshine and happiness and a little something light, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of chocolate here, being the Ghirardelli is sponsoring the event.
With over 2,000 cakes on display, there were classics like chocolate, buttercream, and strawberry. Also featured unique flavors like passion fruit and guava, a slice for every craving.
3, 2, 1.
Anna Maria Morales and her friends were celebrating more than just cake. They were also celebrating their friend Dominic's birthday.
And what better way to celebrate your birthday than surrounded by 2,000 plus cakes?
Morales and her friends definitely have a sweet tooth, but with so many options, they say picking a favorite flavor was the toughest part.
Well, I don't know.
We haven't tried them yet.
My favorite cakes are the ones that are moist and kind of chocolatey and caramely and gooey and delicious. Those are my favorites.
Groups were split up by color, then given a limited time to slice and serve as many pieces of cake as they could.
Honestly, if I just saw something that caught my eye, I was like, I'm gonna slice it.
Kairat Raji showed off her baking skills, bringing a vanilla Swiss meringue buttercream cake with a masquerade strawberry filling.
I knew I wanted to make like a strawberry cake type beat, and then I did a practice round 3 weeks ago, so this is only the second time making it, but it worked out.
The Cake Picnic Tour was started in April 2024 by Bay Area local Eliza Sunga, all because of her simple love for cake. Sunga says she originally hoped about 15 people would show up, but to her surprise, more than 100 did. Since then, the event has taken off, expanding to cities like New York, San Diego, and even all the way to London.
I think that's just so beautiful that, you know, in all the hundreds of kitchens across the Bay Area, cakes were being made with the intention of sharing that with each other. I think that's so beautiful.
Reporting in Treasure Island, Lindsay Ford, KRON 4 News.
I love this idea. My own wife does an annual cookie exchange around the holidays where same idea, right? She invites a whole bunch of people over. They all bring a different type of cookie, and then they get to switch and flip, flop, and fill up their cake tins with a nice variety. But talk about the nth degree, thousands of cakes. And did you see some of the boxes that people were loading up? Waiting for that one to come to my hometown, as I'm sure you are now too, after having seen that. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we are talking about more good news from across America. And welcome back to this episode of Good News Edition. I'm Chip Brewster. We are continuing our tour of positive stories from throughout the Nexstar network. And for this next one, we are going to our station in Salt Lake City. That is KTVX, where Brigham Young University, BYU, opened up a time capsule that was deposited into a building 50 years ago, and they actually got to speak with some of the people that were there when it was created. Very neat story out of Salt Lake.
50 years ago, students and staff at Brigham Young University created a time capsule, and today, as part of their 150th anniversary, they're unveiling what's inside. Inside this capsule that was buried in the corner of the Harold B. Lee Library right on campus were things like a $5 bill.
$5 went a long way in 1975.
Centennial flag.
I can take a look at that.
And a good old cassette recorder. More specifically,
the Sony cassette recorder.
Also inside, student letters written all those years ago highlighting what was new back then, delivered by the now alumni himself.
In the new general education program are several new classes which are taught by computers. Freshman English as well as math are now on the system. The computer contains lessons, homework assignments, and even gives tests.
This, in quotes, backpack was commonly used by students to carry their books and supplies to and from school. It replaced the briefcase used by students up to the late 60s.
But sometimes things never change.
Although the construction has created some problems, students cheerfully walk around the mud, stand in long lines waiting to get through the narrow detour, smile at the most unbearable noise, and look forward to the day when the work is completed, building dedicated.
And of course, a tribute to the BYU Cougars football team.
50 years ago, I can remember sitting in Lavelle Edwards' office and thinking to ourselves, what can this football program become? What can this football program become? And now We're 6-0, and we're going to win this Saturday night.
Let's go!
If you want to take a trip down memory lane, you're invited to come here to Brigham Young University's library for an exhibit detailing what the past 150 years has been like. Reporting in Provo, Kailey, ABC4 News.
I just think that's so neat. Like the whole comparison of how drastically things have changed in 50 years. And 50 years isn't that long, right? I had no idea that backpacks weren't a thing more than 50 years ago, but also that construction has been a thing for the last 50 years, and I believe will continue to be a thing. So that not changing anytime soon. I don't know, just a neat story out of Salt Lake City. Let's do another neat story. We're moving more east and going to Chicago, but this one might end up in your own backyard, not literal backyard, but your neighborhood. They did a story about a shipping container being put to a radically different use than simply shipping goods.
Good evening. We are inside of an old shipping container. It's been outfitted now as an indoor garden. You see a lot of greens being grown back here in North Lawndale. This is part of a nationwide research project to see what they can do to bring fresh produce into well-known food deserts. In what used to be a vacant city lot on Chicago's west side, we find an opportunity for growth.
Sometimes we have microgreens that we grow in here as well.
At 19 years old, Keandre Owens is part of a big project to find the best way to grow fresh produce in the areas that need it most, inside of what is essentially a repurposed shipping container.
This is one of 25 containers nationally, and the learnings here from this container are being shared, both in this community, broader Chicago, Northern Illinois, but also throughout the U.S.
The Electric Power Research Institute, ComEd, and other groups teaming up for this project, outfitting 4 of these containers in Northern Illinois with LED lighting, high-efficiency air circulation, water pumps, and more.
Allowing Y-Men to optimally grow fresh produce all year long.
Keandre tends to these crops through Y-Men, the Young Men's Educational Network.
We do microgreens, we do turnips, we do spinach, and anything else that we think our community would like.
These are like your babies.
Yeah. They really are. I'm just like looking at them. I'm sorry, it's hard to look at, but like just looking at them, it just makes me happy to be around them.
And about every 4 to 5 weeks, he says, they're harvested and eaten by those right here in the neighborhood.
And so far, we have a lot of people who like the flavor of what we grow. They said they will never go back to the store as long as we have the ag pod.
All of it part of the research to find the best way to grow these garden-to-table missions in many other areas.
To really change how we view fresh, nutritious produce and how that produce can be provided in an efficient way 365 days a year in any community in the world.
Now something about the cost. I'm told that to set up one of these shipping containers as an indoor garden, it takes about $500,000. They're hoping to scale this up to bring those costs down. We have much more on this project on our website, WGNTV.com. In North Lawndale tonight, Sean Lewis, WGN News.
Thanks, Sean Lewis, WGN News. So another great story, right, of people helping people. And we're going to continue that trend. But this next story, it's not as much about helping those neighbors, especially here in the U.S., but really those that need our help elsewhere in the world. This is about a company in New York, so it's coming from our Albany station, WTEN, that is doing some good in Ukraine.
I'm Lydia Kulbida in Albany, New York. As Russia's war in Ukraine continues, a Saratoga County company has been continuously working with volunteers to help those injured in Ukraine. The connection halfway across the world is giving people hope, one step at a time.
We all got to do our part somewhere, somehow. This just happens to be my little corner that I'm doing my thing in right now.
Tony Hines' little corner is actually a large manufacturing plant in Saratoga County. He's the CEO of Precision Valve and Automation. Among all the items they make that go all over the world, a machine smaller than a refrigerator is changing lives by cutting down the time it takes to fit prosthetics from weeks to just hours.
What we've done is we've created a machine that can 3D print the sockets, which is the interface between your skin and the hardware.
The machines make their way overseas through a partnership with Ukraine Focus, a group started by Brock Bierman to bring humanitarian and medical aid to those who need it most.
It's really tragic what's happening. The indiscriminate bombing of apartment buildings and just civilian centers. Men and women, children are losing their limbs because of what's going on in this unprovoked war by Russia.
He's led volunteers on 15 missions since 2022, including former New York State DEC Commissioner Basil Segos.
The people I've met over there who are just as brave as you could possibly imagine, and they just need a little bit of help. We've brought a little bit of help.
That help includes other machines from PVA, portable ventilators, that go into some of the more than 300 ambulances delivered to the front lines. But the 3D printers are now part of a more permanent partnership.
We've set up 2 prosthetic centers, one outside of Bucha, Ukraine, and then one outside of Kyiv in Brovary. We had our very first patient walk just a few weeks ago, and we wouldn't be able to do that program without PVA.
People here, we build the machines and we talk about them, but to actually see somebody walking on a printed leg that came off one of our machines is pretty special.
The machines have a daunting task ahead, not just the number of amputees, but the young age of those injured.
The sockets don't last forever. You know, if they get 2 to 3 years out of a socket, that's just about right. So they're going to need dozens of these throughout the course of their life.
The story that Americans have kind of moved on and don't care about Ukraine anymore. Come to Clifton Park, just north of Albany, meet Tony Hines at PVA and see what he's doing for the people of Ukraine. Local businessman who's got other things to do has put time out of his life to bring equipment into Ukraine that can get people back on their feet. I mean, really incredible story.
And when you ask Tony, why help Ukraine?
I mean, why help anybody anywhere? They need the help. I really do think the onus should be on everybody to reach out to other people, help where they can, and just make make life better for others.
Cool story again. I mean, that has like national, international implications, but it was a local story done by our local station in Albany, New York. And you got to see it here. Even if you live in Albany, New York, maybe you missed it when WTEN did the story and you got to catch it. Maybe you're watching their CTV app, their WTEN Plus, I believe is what it is. Regardless, it's what I love so much about doing the show. And I'm so excited that you get to be along for the ride with me. I've got 2 more stories after this break, and I'm continuing by promise to include at least one animal story because this is effectively the internet after all. And that plus one about some dancing moms when we return. Well, just before the break, I gave you a heads up as to the last 2 stories we have in this week's episode. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in to the one about dancing moms. This is coming from our station in Charlotte, North Carolina, WJZY, and it's about not zombies, but MOMBIES.
No offense, but before we even met them, they were already dead to us. More woos than Ric Flair.
We're getting ready to scare you.
They looked alive and well after this 6:30 p.m. wake-up call, as in wake from the dead. But don't be frightened, they're not zombies, they're the Waxaw MOMBIES. Get it?
We're like zombies, but we're moms.
When they're not playing dead, they clearly have a life. But sometimes
We are dying to get out of the house.
one day, founder Dana Corcoran decided, hey, we're the MOMBIES.
A group of friends that got together in 2022 on a whim to do a flash mob.
The MOMBIES show flashes of their spooky choreography at events like Waxaw Fright Night, Pineville Trunk or Treat, and wherever their maternal instinct leads them.
Get out there in front of your community and bring people together for fun. There's just nothing better than that.
Well, we get out of the house and we get to do something just for us.
But the beauty of it is, this is not just for them.
The MOMBIES prove that tricks aren't just for kids. In fact, in 2023, they realized they could find a way to give back to the community in a way that's so impactful it's frightening.
The MOMBIES raise money for causes in the community. They gave life to
the Sisterhood Against Sexual Assault, and now we've helped over 1,200 people with emergency care kit bags and aftercare and group care for survivors of a sexual assault.
And that makes this mob even more worthwhile for Jenny Murray, whose husband is Waxhaw Mayor Robert Murray.
So when this came up, I had to be a part of it because I love to dance and I love to support good causes.
Genevieve Leidig is assistant principal at Weddington Elementary.
It has been such a treat, so much fun, brought a lot of joy to all of us moms who are busy every day, allowing us to carve out some time for ourselves.
They say having a fellow Mombie as your ride or die can be a lifesaver.
It gets us bonding. I had an emergency this week. My son was in the hospital and they immediately set up a meal train and they came to the house, and it's really just us moms supporting moms.
Yes, they look like a corps of corpses, but in reality, there's so much more.
We just have a lot of fun getting together and dancing, burning off some energy, getting ready to perform and party and scare each other, apparently.
In Waxhaw,
Do I have to get back up?
John Lee, Queen City News.
God, that is just some good local news reporting fun, isn't it? Especially when you get the local kind of feature reporter stand up in the middle of it. Classic local news and stuff that, and again, unless you're watching that local station, you would have no idea is being made. Cool story. Glad we could include it in this week's show. We are going to end, though, with a story about animals. Yep, had to do it. Got to keep this going. As long as I can, as long as I get one good animal story in every week, that I'm going to do it, period. So this one coming from our station in New York City, WPIX, and it's about a different kind of therapy animal. You're familiar with therapy dogs, especially, right? Cats, perhaps. I've seen therapy goats. I have once seen this, but didn't realize how it worked. Yeah, let's just toss it over to them, shall we?
Like her.
She really likes you.
I'm glad I made a friend.
It was a rare opportunity for a group of senior citizens to make friends with a couple of miniature therapy horses. They came in from the Therapeutic Horse Ability Center on Long Island.
Oh, you like this, don't you? I can tell.
To the Sunrise East 56th Street Assisted Living Facility.
This is Aiden.
They walked with canes. Some came in wheelchairs. Smiles filled their faces as they interacted with 15-year-old Aiden and 17-year-old Pearl. These gentle ponies are specially trained to provide comfort and therapeutic interaction for seniors.
It makes me feel so calm. It just makes me feel better. I was just touched with this animal. It made me want to cry, and it gave me like hope that there are good things in the world. I truly love this animal. She's awfully sweet.
These therapy ponies are out every week, making special visits to assisted living facilities, nursing homes, and hospitals. And they have a lasting impact on the people they meet.
It's amazing. It reduces anxiety, it's stress. We're not here just to do Juilliard concerts every day. And so pony therapy is just probably a step above puppy therapy.
Thank you for letting me touch you.
Patty Perlstein, originally from Brooklyn, said she misses her younger days when she used to ride horses.
I wish I could get on that with the stirrups and all, and I used to canter even. I really rode horses, but life changes, and I can't anymore.
Horses can feel your heart beating from about 4 feet away, so they come to meet these people, and they feel calm energy, and they just want to come up and put their nose in their lap and just sit there and chill out with them.
Known for their calm and patient demeanor, these miniature therapy horses have a unique ability to be able to connect with people and bring happiness to everyone they meet, particularly these senior citizens who enjoyed their presence today. At the Sunrise East 56 Assisted Living Facility, I'm Marvin Scott, PIX 11 News.
I don't know about you guys. I spent this entire show, I know I'm the host, and I've watched a lot of these videos, but I just spend the whole thing smiling because that's just the kind of news that is out there that we really don't get to see all concentrated in one spot like we do on this show. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of Across America Good News Edition. Again, I'm Chip Bruce with Nexstar Media, and I hope to see you each and every week back here on this exact Nexstar station app that you're watching it on. Until then, take care.